call to order the meeting of the New York State Board of Elections. Let the record reflect that we have full attendance. Myself, Commissioner Berger, Commissioner Kozinski, Commissioner Casal, and Commissioner Bagnola. The first order of business is the approval of minutes. We have minutes for May 1, 2024, May 22, 2024, and June 13, 2024. Are there any additions or amendments or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve those three sets of minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please indicate. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. We will now have unit updates. We will ask the co-executive directors, Kristen Zabrowski-Stavisky and Raymond Riley III, to please provide executive update.
Thank you, Commissioner. Welcome to all the commissioners. I'm sorry I'm not there with you today. I will give this report. The co-executive directors have worked with staff throughout the agency, as well as coordinating with county boards and other state agencies on several issues since the last report at our May 1st, 2024 board meeting. Tuesday's election, the primary election on June 25th, went smoothly. As always, we supported county boards throughout early voting and election day. The work to certify that primary election continues, and the counties will be submitting absentee and early mail voters, voter history, and affidavit information to the state board. That is all due tomorrow, and we will continue to support and assist the county boards as they complete the recanvass, the 3% audit, and any statutorily required manual recounts. As always, our Secure Elections Center coordinated with our federal, state, and local partners for daily security check-ins. These partnerships continue to grow, and they provide critical support and response for emergent situations. As you are aware, there were text messages sent from an independent company with erroneous poll site information. This went to voters in several counties throughout the state. Our public information office immediately engaged with the vendor, who issued a corrective text to all voters who had received information and a press release. And we were able to make sure that they in turn directed all of those voters to the trusted source, the state board or the county boards of elections. So we appreciate the quick work by our PIO unit in alleviating any concerns around that information. Let's talk about OVR, online voter registration and automatic voter registration, for a moment. Since the May 31st deployment of the state board's portal, and simultaneously that same day the New York City portal, 67,738 New Yorkers have utilized online systems to register. 33,144 through New York City and 34,594 through the State Board of Elections. We continue to monitor the usage and seek to raise awareness so that more residents know about and access the system. The numbers are continuing to rise, and we will work on enhancements, particularly within the context of our agency's software that is currently under development. Our goal is to streamline systems to provide the most efficient, effective systems we can for all of our constituent groups: voters, county boards, the general public interested in public reporting, and our governmental partners. Automatic voter registration, our partnership with the New York State ITS continues to implement AVR and the clearinghouse necessary to transfer information efficiently between the state board, the county boards, and AVR agencies. We meet weekly. Our technical teams also have a regular meeting cadence. The work is underway, and we are in the final stages of gathering business requirements. We continue our contact with the AVR agencies, including the Department of Labor, Department of Health, the New York City Housing Authority, and the Office of Temporary Disability Assistance. Outreach to SUNY and CUNY is also underway. Our focus right now is on the Department of Motor Vehicles, which is the first AVR agency to go live. We meet weekly with DMV, and they are finalizing their internal project schedule to enable AVR and to connect to our clearinghouse so that registration information may be communicated to and ingested by the county boards. We're still on track to complete phase 1 of AVR at the end of Q1 2025, and we're hoping that phase 2 will follow shortly behind in Q2. We have drafted regulations for automatic voter registration to guide the agencies through this process, and we expect to have those. We're still working out the final draft, and we expect to have those to you shortly so that we can enable adoption in an upcoming board meeting. I mentioned earlier our integrated state board and PCFB software solution. MTX, our vendor, has been on site since March and is working closely with Laura Baker and our IT unit to finalize the tech stack, work through the business requirements, and develop the software. A note about Laura, our CIO. As you know, we introduced her to you during our May 1st meeting. That was one day before her actual start date. Laura came to us from Schenectady with a wealth of experience, and she immediately hit the ground running and is working closely with MTX on this software solution and with New York State ITS on AVR. The entire ITU team is working together with the technical expertise necessary to ensure this software positions us for the future of elections in New York State. So a big thank you to Laura, to Ben Spear, Hope Hardwick, and the entire team, including Shake, Shirag, Eric, Ryan, Creighton, everyone that is. It's really been a joy to see the tech team working together and exploring the solutions that will move us into the next phase of elections and make sure that we are providing the best experience for New York State. Space planning. Commissioners, after a 6-year process, I'm pleased to report construction on the 5th floor is just about complete. We had our final biweekly job meeting with OGS and our vendors. The final punch list items are being addressed, and we expect to move back into that side of the floor within the next several weeks. So we can look forward to welcoming you back to the 5th floor boardroom, hopefully for our next meeting. As you know, our fill level for the 24-25 budget fiscal year was 218. This is a critical point in the growth of our agency, and between the 1st, 5th, and 7th floors, I can say that we finally have the space required to efficiently carry out our duties. Most importantly, the project accomplished our primary goal, which was extremely important to the commissioners, that the agency remain together in one location. So a thank you to the Division of Budget and to the Office of General Services for the hard work it took to ensure that we have the resources necessary to complete our mission. Petitions. With 3 elections during this presidential year, we've been processing petitions and ballot access determinations continually. While prima facie determinations for independent nominating petitions were completed during your last meeting, work on objections for other independent nominating petitions continues. Just a kudos to the staff for the many long hours they're putting in to complete this process. We continue to meet bi-weekly with the Division of Budget and the Office of General Services. Unfortunately, enforcement has been unavailable during our bi-weekly meeting time. We hope to resume those meetings shortly. We meet weekly with the executive branch, and we continue our monthly conference calls with the Election Commissioners Association. Our next call is actually scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. We work on training and guidance to provide the county boards with the resources and the tools necessary to carry out their duties. And we're looking forward to the August 2024 conference, and we'll work closely with the Election Commissioners Association Program Committee to draft a robust training program. We continue to meet regularly with state and federal agencies, and our ongoing partnership with Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security. We will be hosting with them tabletop exercises across the state from July 22nd to the 26th. We'll have sessions in Westchester, Saratoga, Rochester, and Buffalo. And we're partnering in that with both the local county boards, their county IT professionals, and any communication professionals they work with in the county. We have over 200 reservations thus far, and they really are a great way to bring the agencies and jurisdictions together to tackle some hypothetical problems that could arise during elections so that we have all of the tools necessary to ensure that we can respond, and it allows for better coordination and communication. Presidential year brings a lot of activity. Certainly our Public Information Office has been active on social media, trying to sort of unlock the mystery of elections so that voters and the general public have information of the procedures that we take. They understand that we are the trusted source, and what county boards do to actually ensure the integrity of every election. There's also increased interest and increased phone calls. They've been fielding all of those. In addition, operations and all of the other units have an increased volume of phone calls assisting county chairs and answering questions. We will continue that work. As I reported last time, we've begun the development for the State Board of Election Training Institute, established by Chapter 477 of the laws of 2023. And this directs us to develop a curriculum for the poll workers. We will be working on that throughout the next, once the election is over, we will shift that into higher gear. And we'll really have a train the trainer program so that the counties can certify their professionals and train all of the inspectors throughout the state. Our goal is to have all voters in New York have the same seamless experience and to be able to access the polls without issues or complaint. I thank you for your listening and your support, and I would just turn it to Ray to see if he has any additional comments.
Thanks, Kristen. The only thing I'll add is just I know you mentioned partnerships with both the state and local partners as well as CISA. Our partners from the federal government were actually with us in the building on Tuesday during primary day. We continue to partner with our state and local partners. We have daily touch points during election events. These elections are a team effort. We had a very successful Tuesday and early voting period, and it's in no small part to the staff here, our partnerships on both the federal, state, and local level, but also the hard work of the county boards and their poll workers and their staff. So I just want to add my thanks and my appreciation to all of those individuals for their hard work in ensuring our election security and administration.
Thank you both. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for our co-executive directors? Hearing none. We will now hear from election operations. Jude Seymour, Amy Hill, you're on.
Thank you, Commissioner. The operations unit received and entered ballot access documents related to independent nominating petitions for the November general election. We are, of course, continuing to work with other units to coordinate our communication with the counties in order to provide relevant guidance and to collect data for surveys. Staff is continuing acceptance testing and will continue through at least July and August. Since January, over 22 counties and over 2,000 new voting machines and over 2,000 machines have been upgraded. We have been working with council and other units on the independent nomination objection review and research process. We supported counties in the run-up to the June primary elections and will continue to work with them on all post-election tasks. We're currently assisting with counties compiling voter history and collecting their absentee, early mail, and affidavit data for the statewide match, which will be completed this weekend in time for affidavit canvassing to begin on Monday. For voting systems, one of our voting system vendors has submitted, there's been a submission from HART that is currently in testing with our federal testing lab. For voter registration systems, during our last report, we did mention that one of our vendors, our voting registration vendors, had announced that they would be discontinuing service by the end of the year. So we've been meeting with them weekly and with counties who currently use that system to coordinate the transition to a new voting system vendor. At this point, we have 6 counties transitioning in July and August, and the remaining 2 will be transitioning in December. Operations has been working closely with our ICU and others to ensure smooth transitions for all of the counties before the November election. For electronic poll books, NOINC requested that the state board review a software and hardware package that will allow counties a solution to update 32 e-poll books simultaneously. Staff of both the Secure Election Center and Operations participated in a demonstration and review of the polling solution, its documentation, and related security practices. We have determined the solution is de minimis in nature, does not negatively impact the functioning of approved configurations, and is allowable for use by counties. As part of our review, our team has put forth requirements for the installation and operation of the PulseSync solution, which counties must follow when using the PulseSync system. And then last week, Knowing submitted version 3.6 for testing. However, operations was not able to begin testing of the new software until Apple first approved the application from their end, which has now occurred this week, which will allow the testing process to begin and move forward.
Thank you. Jude, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing to add. Thank you very much, Amy, for our report.
Thank you both. Moving on to Council and Compliance, Brian Quayle and Kevin Murphy. I'm not sure who's going first.
I'll go first. So the compliance unit has been very busy with the MTX process, working obviously with ITU and TCFB as Kristen and others have mentioned, and that has consumed a great deal of the management team's time and energy on that very important task. The compliance unit has also worked closely with the operations unit in gathering data from county boards of elections and have identified 157 local candidates as being the primary who were not otherwise indicated by having filed committee registrations with the New York State Board of Elections. Also, as has been mentioned, the petition review process, or rather large independent nomination petition that's under review, has occupied the vast majority of the staff's time since the 11th of June and continues the pace. Also, I just would want to point out that the staff in the compliance unit is working on the fourth quarter deficiency referral, which would include at this point 157 deficiencies. The total number of deficiencies referred to date is 4,333. The compliance unit has reviewed since 6/26/2024 2,955 filings, bringing the total number that have been received now at 242,444 since the unit was created. We're approaching the $250,000 mark. Since the last board meeting, the compliance unit has registered 299 candidates and 63 committees. The compliance unit has also completed 29 treasurer resignation reviews, and 178 committee records have been terminated, along with 1,921 candidate records. In the council unit, there are a number of cases that are still pending in various stages in the litigation process. On May 30th, the line warming case dealing with the constitutionality of 17-140 culminated in a district court decision that the application of 17-140 to line warming was unconstitutional. We have pending still on a motion to dismiss in federal court in the Eastern District the Castronova versus New York State Board of Elections case. And in that case, the board prevailed on the plaintiff's motion seeking a preliminary injunction. The preliminary injunction was denied, but the case itself is still alive. Also, we have one case regarding the constitutionality of our independent nominating processes in federal court, brought by Team Kennedy at the New York State Board of Elections. That case was filed in May, but we have not been served yet. In the Burns case related to the ballot proposition that the legislature passed on the ballot this year, the Fourth Department reversed the Supreme Court and held that the question should go on the ballot. In terms of ballot access cases, we have, stemming from the board's last meeting, one challenge to its determinations thus far, in the form of Scott Lewis versus New York State Board of Elections, dealing with his congressional petition, and that is on order to show cause returnable on Friday, tomorrow. We also have two invalidating cases with respect to the Robert F. Kennedy independent nominating petition. One is in Dutchess County and one is in Nassau County, and motions to consolidate venue are pending in those cases. Long-standing, we have the Stefanik case that the State Department recently held early vote by mail constitutional, but appeal is pending in the Court of Appeals, which has taken the case, and there's a briefing schedule in that case, and the appeal will be heard quite soon. And similarly, but in the third department, not in the Court of Appeals, the Amador case is on appeal, and the briefing there will culminate in that case being heard on August 15th. We just learned that yesterday. And then long-standing, outstanding, we have the Upstate Jobs Party case still pending in the Second Circuit, and the Schmidt case still pending in the district court. That's the case in which the statement of witness for independent nominating petitions was held to be too constraining on the constitutional rights of non-registered voters to circulate petitions, and we have been implementing a implementing a preliminary injunction order in that case to provide for an alternative independent nominating witness statement for persons who are not registered voters. And in the voting machine realm, in the common cause case, where the board's approval was upheld, there is motion practice still occurring, and an appeal has been taken but not perfected. And that's where we're at. Anything to add, Kevin?
Only to express the same appreciation previous speakers have mentioned for the continued hard work from the entirety of the staff relating to the review of the specifications of objections for the Kennedy petition. It's obviously a pretty massive undertaking, and we're just very appreciative that they've been working so hard on it, and hopefully we'll be done with it and have it behind us sooner rather than later. But that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you both. Now hear from enforcement, Michael Johnson, please.
Hold on.
Jimmy, may I ask a
Sorry.
question?
Please.
Like, yeah, the so-called line warming case. By the way, I stopped at my polling place on primary day. No warming was necessary. Anyway, what's the status now of that? As far as it affects the county boards and affects the operations?
Well, it's in the case itself deals with the provision of sustenance and drinks and things like that to voters who are, and potentially others, but the way that we've interpreted it in proximity to the polling place. So it's 17-140 of the election law, and it basically been a long-standing provision of the election law. It was sort of designed to prevent sort of carnival-like type atmosphere surrounding poll sites. In antiquity, there are several other sections of the law around it that ban, for example, electioneering within 100 feet of the polling place. Those other provisions of the law, also one of which includes giving consideration to the franchise, are still very much enforceable and in effect. But the 17-140, to the extent that it would have been deemed in the past to exclude someone from providing drinks or a piece of pizza or something like that as they're in line waiting to vote, the court held that was expressive conduct, and that the state did not have a sufficiently narrowly tailored basis to circumscribe that conduct in the way that 17-140 currently does. So I think where it leaves us is it leaves us still with the other provisions of law that deal with electioneering and consideration for the franchise, very much still in effect. And I think it leaves the legislature in a position to look at the decision that the court rendered and determine whether or not and how they would like to amend that section to more narrowly tailor it and provide for the intent of the section. I don't think anyone who reads that section would think that it's well written. It has, that's an understatement. It had been cobbled together over multiple amendments over a very long period of time. I think fundamentally, for the specific thing that was regulated by 1713, provision of food and provisions, I think it is in the legislative word at this point.
What would the effect be for this coming November? Because obviously the legislature is not going to act before November.
The theoretical impact for November is that line warming activity could occur.
Now, say in line waiting to vote, does that mean within the 100 feet or only outside the 100 feet?
I think it would be applicable within and without the 100 feet. But to the extent that you have conduct that would both be line warming and electioneering would still be banned within the 100 feet. So
if someone were to pass a bottle of water and say, would you like a bottle of water, that's one thing. But if I said, it's a bottle of water, and by the way, John Smith provided the water to you and he's running for town council, that's obviously...
That would be problematic. We have opined that when you provide something that has the name of a candidate that's on the ballot within the 100 feet, that is in and of itself is electioneering.
But my other concern is, if I'm in line waiting to vote, let's say I'm just at the door within 100 feet, I'm handed a bottle of water, or I grab a cookie or something, and are people then allowed to carry it inside the polling place? It's going to cause a lot of confusion, quite a bit of a mess, if people are allowed to eat while they're voting. I mean, that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, I have not considered the impact of the actual consumption.
Well, if some of these polling places are very small, I mean, it's going to be just total nightmare for these inspectors to keep things neat and orderly.
Yeah, I think the good news is, we don't know exactly what organizations will take up this line warming activity, but for the most part, in most places, there isn't a lot of line warming that's necessary in New York. We have a very good record in most places at most times of having very, very low wait times for voters. There are some exceptions, and they're significant, where the activity might be more likely to occur, and in a theoretical sense, be more necessary, working through the logistics of what will happen. I think it's something we should be really looking at as we move to November to document exactly what happens. But to the extent that there's going to be a legislative redress in this, I think it will be important to see what actually happens.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you. Michael Johnson, can you give us an update on enforcement?
Yeah, I'm going to give you folks an update as to where we are with regard to our mass filing the court documents with the non-filers. We proceeded service of roughly 176 non-filers. Out of that 176 approximate number, 137 were served. 2 were not served because we confirmed they were deceased. 5 were not served because it was out of the scope of the contract, which does not allow New York process out of state. And the interesting thing is the rule requires that the bank needs to be in New York, not the treasurer. So what we need to do is, in looking at contract, make certain it's amended in such a way that we can utilize it to serve people who are out of state. Right now, like I said, the contract doesn't allow for that. We also have 32 who were not served because we could not locate the treasurer at the address of record. Additional due diligence will continue to see if we can locate those individuals, and we will also go to court to seek a discontinuance without prejudice in case we happen to locate these individuals action against them. As far as settlements go, we've got 11 fully settled, 10 settlements, but waiting for papers to be signed, and there are 20 where we're negotiating or curing a failure to file in order to settle. And some of the committees, like 20-plus committees, were administratively terminated after we commenced the action. So we're working with those folks in terms of just because your committee was terminated does not remove you of the enforcement action, and I still need to make your file. So we're working with some of the committees on that. And we're doing the outreach to attempt to get these individuals to cure their failure to file. We hope to have that done, pretty much within the next 2 weeks. And as far as moving forward is concerned, there are 84 of the non-filers who have not appeared in court, attempted to cure, or reached out in response to come to some sort of settlement. The respondent's deadline to file opposition papers is the 31st of July. Our deadline to file reply papers, if any, is before the return date, which is the 9th of August. Depending on the progress between now and the end of next week, we may request to the court an adjournment to push this out a little bit further so we can figure out where people are in terms of trying to cure or what further steps we need to do. If we have not been able to cure, then we will be preparing default judgment papers against the remaining individuals. So that's where we are with that. And as far as cases go, we've got a host of cases that I will speak to when we have our discussion.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. Moving on to NVRA and PIO, Kathleen McGrath, Jennifer Wilson.
Good morning, Commissioners. To start with our general public information function, since the last, most recent board meeting when we had unit updates on May 1st, we've received 339 FOIL requests, and we have filled 327 of them. That leaves 12 remaining outstanding and in process during that time. As I reported at the last meeting, we had really ramped up FOIL fulfillment during the designating and independent nominating petition period, and hopefully that is settling down slightly, but we're still responding in good time for those. PIO has been very busy updating both the State Board and PCFB websites. We're continuously publishing updated information. Since our last meeting, we've published things like our ballot determinations and certifications, our certified results to both the presidential primary and the April 30th special. We've added a new NVRA site coordinators page, updated HAVA determinations, worked with IT on sample ballots in the voter lookup application, the election night reporting site for just a few days ago, and updated board meeting information for both today and past meetings. On the PCFB side, we've published public fund payment documents, as well as provided a new enforcement determinations page, and their revised program calendar and board meeting information as well. We continue to work with our outside vendor as well as with ITS to ensure our websites meet and exceed the standards for accessibility. In terms of county board outreach, PIO has worked to ensure that the federal surveys related to both the presidential primary and the June primary were completed and submitted to the state board in a timely fashion. We ensured that our county boards uploaded their early voting and poll site information for the primary, and now we are beginning our reach out to them in terms of making sure all their voter histories are uploaded properly post-election. Both Dawn Metzler and Dan Toomey have been very busy conducting county visits. In fact, since our last update on May 1st, they visited 17 county boards, included a big sweep of Western New York and the Southern Tier, as well as a trip through the North Country. On each visit, they go over multiple NICE voter reports and review processes and procedures performed by the county board. They also talk to them about grants and their requirements under NVRA. We've designed and printed materials, posters, and postcards that we've distributed to the county boards for them to distribute, including voter registration options, election deadlines, and poll worker recruitment postcards. Of course, we continue to engage with the county boards and the Civic Roundtable platform. For NBRA, Dan Toomey has one agency training scheduled for August with the Department of Health WIC and two scheduled in September with the New York City Department of Social Services Human Resource Administration. He continues to reach out to a number of other agencies to ensure they are properly reporting and documenting their NBRA requirements. And we do have a new page on our website specifically for as resource material for those NBRA site coordinators within the agencies. In terms of our public outreach, we've been very busy with traditional media since we last spoke. We've issued two press releases since the last board meeting. One was the PCFE authorizing its first matching funds payments back in May, and then as Kristen alluded to earlier, and I'll mention a little bit more in a moment, about warning voters about those text messages with incorrect polling places. On top of that, we've responded to inquiries and sat for interviews regarding a huge variety of issues, including primary election ballot certification, those independent nominating petitions, and the objections received, specifically those related to U.S. President and Congress, prima facie determinations for the general, campaign finance issues, voter technology questions, felon voter rights, and details and early voting numbers for the primary. On the PCFE side, we've been responding to a number of inquiries related to payment dates, matching funds, recipients, and amounts, and contribution verification and audit processes. Under our social media, our Fun Fact Friday series recently taught followers that the beaver is the official state mammal of New York State and introduced our new friend Ballot the Beaver as the State Board's mascot as part of our 50th birthday celebration. We also ran a finals week series in June at the end of school, which gave five days of questions and answers under different school subjects, answering questions about elections in New York State. We've been active on X or Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, publishing 16 tweets and posts on all of those sites. We've increased our engagement as well as our numbers of followers on all three of those platforms. In addition to the Fun Fact Friday and finals, we've had posts about board meetings, pre-registration, early voting for the June primary, primary election day information, and today's board meeting. Our constant contact email service continues to grow. We've actually grown 5.4% since last month's board meeting. Now we have a total of 2,358 subscribers, and we've sent out 3 blast emails since May 1st, celebrating our 50th birthday, a PCFB program update, and then June primary information and deadlines. As Kristen did mention earlier, in terms of mis and disinformation, earlier this week we certainly had our experience with misinformation. As she mentioned, a national grassroots Get Out the Vote organization sent text messages to New Yorkers with June primary poll site names, addresses, and even a photo of the site. But unfortunately, many of these sites were incorrect and caused much confusion. After we heard reports from several county boards, the state board jumped right in to take swift action to address the issue. We crafted and disseminated a press release as well as social media information, encouraging people to go right to the state board's voter lookup or their county board. We communicated with the county boards, and we also made direct contact with the organization to make the text messages stop, to ask for a remedial text message to be sent out, and to determine the cause and scope of the problem. I am pleased to report that the organization did admit fault and apologized. They did send out that remedial text to their entire distribution list, and they even posted their own press release on their own website directing to the state board. So media across the state picked up on the story, and while this particular instance did not appear to be nefarious, this shows how quickly misinformation spreads and the confusion and harm it can cause.
Kathleen, do you know how many of those went out?
How many bad text messages to how many total text messages? I have not gotten an updated number from the CEO of the company. I do know they sent their entire distribution list was to about 140,000 text messages. Some of them got the correct poll site information, but there was a scattering across a number of counties where it was a data sort issue, but they did send the remedial text to all 140,000 folks that they had originally texted.
But you don't know how many bad ones went out?
I do not have that number, no.
Have we determined who they are and why they're doing this? Is this on behalf of an organization? Did somebody hire them?
This is an organization that's a national grassroots effort that their goal is to increase voter turnout. So they were providing people on their distribution what they thought was good information.
To turn out the vote effort.
Yes, it's a GOTV campaign, national. In New York, they had sent out what they thought were helpful texts to direct people to their polling place for the June primary, and a certain percentage of those went.
So it wasn't on behalf of a particular party, a particular candidate. It was just a general.
It's an outside group, correct. It wasn't on behalf of.
To get this.
Yes. My conversation with the CEO was quick. He responded to an email very quickly, and they did immediately cease the text messages. They did send out the remedial, apologizing, taking ownership of it, and directing people right to voter lookup on our website. And I mentioned they did post a press release on their site as well, which complemented ours that we had put out. While it wasn't the most pleasant experience, I guess it was a good and effective dress rehearsal for any future issues, and this is what we're always standing guard on in PIO particularly, because even when the intent's not bad, and I don't ever want to speculate on intent, the effect can be to cause confusion and harm voter turnout. So this summer we have social media campaigns planned to provide facts about elections and voting. The first one being about voting technology and the testing involved in their certification and use. So that continues our process. Our coordination with the National Association of Secretaries of State about their Trusted Info 2024 campaign, and hopefully we won't have to experience this again. A couple miscellaneous items before I pass over to Jen. The entirety of PIO staff has been reviewing those independent nominating petition objections to ensure the work of the agency is done in a timely fashion. For cybersecurity, at the recommendation of our Secure Election Center, Jennifer and I are completing a 28-hour SANS Institute cybersecurity training to help us to best understand the technology that we are dealing with, and especially in the mis- and disinformation space. And at the very tail end here, I would be remiss to log this report without thanking the New York City Board of Elections and their mascot, Ellis the Pigeon, for sending us a cake today to celebrate our 50th birthday. So thank you to the New York City Board. Belle the Beaver appreciates it. So on that note, I'll send it over to Jen to talk about money.
Thank you, Kathleen. Can I just ask one question?
Of course.
About the grassroots? Do we know where they received their information? Like their distribution, where the polling information?
They got it from the state board and they missorted it,
Okay.
basically, and that's the problem with data manipulation. It was human error is what the company described it to me. They did get correct information, but a human error on data sorting, you know, if you sort wrong columns, that's what made it obviously wrong. It wasn't sending me to a polling place that's 2 blocks. Like people like Suffolk got a polling place in Rochester, but I might be mixing up the details, but they were very obviously wrong on some regards, and it was a human error.
But they were targeting certain groups from what you're saying, 'cause they only sent out 140,000.
I think people, it's a progressive organization, and so I don't know what they used for their matrix of who they sent it out to.
Yeah, and the one thing I would add is that, you know, as far as the information that we give out, we give out information on poll sites. An organization like this, and there's lots of organizations, and when I was in PIO, I would often find websites that had completely wrong information about who was on the ballot. It's always a struggle of making sure that they're getting the right information out there. Obviously, we're not giving out people's cell phone numbers, so they're usually also combining multiple lists and trying to make kind of like a holistic thing that they can then send out these. That's one of the reasons why, at least with the poll site information, we also provide that information from the state to the Voting Information Project, which is an entity that through the Google Civic API then feeds most of the major social media platforms. So at least we know that if you're going to Twitter or X, or if you're going to Facebook or on Instagram, it's asking you to check where to go to vote, they're actually getting that data straight from the state board.
And updated.
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions? Go to Jen.
Jennifer Graham.
Jennifer Graham.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Since our last board meeting, the Grants team has sent contract extensions to county boards that have remaining funds on our absentee postage, technology, innovation, election resource, cybersecurity, electronic poll books, early voting expansion, early voting age localities, and how a shoebox grants. These extensions will allow us to continue to spend down on those grants. The good news is we have not too much left remaining in those. They are doing a good job in spending those down. The one that has the most left is our absentee postage with 31% remaining, but the rest are quite low, around 20% and less. So that's great. We sent out approximately 150 extensions, and we've already been receiving those extensions back. While we were revising our existing grant contracts for the new extensions, we were able to also get approval from the Office of General Services to align the end dates for all of our grant contracts. Previously, each of these grants had a different end date. Some ended at the end of the calendar year, some had like an arbitrary end date, some of them ended in March, and we were able to align them all to end at the state fiscal year so that counties have more time to spend on them, and they're not going to be wondering, are they going to be approved in the budget? They'll have plenty of time to spend them at the end of the fiscal year. Easier record keeping for us, easier record keeping for the state board. For our new grants, in June, we drafted proposed contracts and supporting documentation for our 3 new grants. That is our electronic poll book, mail ballot, and 2024 general election grants. Those proposals were submitted to the Office of General Services so that they could be approved and reviewed first and approved by the Office of the State Comptroller. We're still waiting for final approval for those proposals, but we have sent the preliminary information and tentative budget, allowable expenses, and contract terms to the county board so that they can start their budget planning. We expect to have approval soon, and we will be sending letters to the Division of Budget, Assembly, Ways and Means, Senate Finance Committees, describing the final approved grant programs once the comptroller has signed off, and we are required to do that for the statute. So we will keep you posted. Hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll have final approval. We'll have a lot of details for you. But that's all for me. Thanks. Thank you.
That's all from PIO, unless you have a question.
Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to ITU. Laura Baker, now that you're fully settled in and you know everything that's going on, you update us?
Thank you very much for that vote of confidence. I want to thank everyone for the welcome that I've received upon starting the Board of Elections roughly 2 months ago. I'm excited to join the board and continue on this journey with all of you. Since starting, one of the first initiatives was to evaluate internal controls, policies, and procedures that were already in place. And in conjunction with the Secure Election Center, we have started drafting some changes to the existing policies, and we've initiated a few changes within the internal controls. Currently, ITU is conducting a refresh of our network infrastructure and the architecture that currently exists in support of the future goals that the Board of Elections has in its digital transformation journey. We are also, as Kristen pointed out, supporting the automatic voter registration project, public campaign finance board project. We've identified internal subject matter experts within the unit that are now dedicated and focused to those 2 projects and ensuring that they complete on time and are successful. The staff in both of those units has started some in-depth training in the new technologies, and while still maintaining the current state of our existing applications. And we are providing, obviously, some support in moving all of the units to their new homes on the 5th floor or wherever they may be. We also successfully launched an update to our our NICE voter system in order to make looking up of voter signatures faster and more efficient in order to support PIO and legal in their spec review. The Secure Election Center, to second what Ray mentioned earlier, we also would like to thank the Cyber Infrastructure Security Agency for being here in person on Tuesday night to show their support for secure elections. We also, as Kristen mentioned, we're putting together the final touches on the roadshow that will take place in July. In the 4 municipalities that you mentioned, we have 214 attendees right now, and we would encourage anyone who hasn't registered to reach out to the Secure Operations Center, Elections Operations Center, to get more information. I'm very short.
Thank you. Thank you all for your reports, and thank you to the entire staff for the work you are doing. I believe we have no old business, so let's proceed to new business. The first item of new business is public campaign finance certification of the maximum general election 2024 funds by the State Board of Election co-chairs. This is resolution 2412, and would the co-executive directors please provide the background to this resolution?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. As you know, the public campaign finance statute requires that the co-chairs of the New York State Board of Elections certify the maximum funds for each election event. This amount would be if all program participants by party get the maximum amount. And this is using a formula of moving forward from the primary. Only one candidate moved forward. And that's the max number of participating candidates. And then they're assumed to receive the maximum per office sought. If there's no program participant that is, or if a program participant is unopposed, no funds would be given out. So this resolution, and I know you've been given backup materials, provides a ceiling of funds for Senate candidates of $27,375,000, and the ceiling for Assembly candidates $23,275,000. I don't know if Ray wants to add anything or if you have any questions.
I have nothing to add.
So the resolution is 2412, and it reads, now therefore be resolved, the co-chairs of the State Board of Elections certify that $50,650,000 is necessary to fund the payment pursuant to Title II of the election law. I will move that resolution. Co-Chair Kaczynski, do you second it?
I can. I guess I have a procedural question. Does the full board approve this, or is it just Henry and I that do this?
Just the two co-chairs.
So we just sign a document, it's done?
You just co-chairs vote, Commissioner Kaczynski. Yes, it's not the full board.
So the two of us actually vote on this, and then we sign something after we vote on it?
I don't think there's a signature.
Is that fair to say?
I don't know if there's a written component necessary.
So there's nothing else we do, we just do this right here?
Yes.
But we do it at a board meeting for some reason, even though the rest of the board isn't involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Before you do,
Can I just point out that the two amounts do not match? And when the resolution, can we just fix that?
Yes.
For the resolution?
so
That's a very good point. I didn't even notice that, but there's a $500 discrepancy there.
As amended.
Which amount is correct?
Are the directors of the public campaign finance there? It could just be an
Yes,
addition.
they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Cheryl's here.
The one with 500 on it is the correct.
So the therefore is incorrect.
Correct.
Okay. So the therefore, the therefore needs to be corrected to include the 500.
We will update accordingly.
650.
So do you want to move the amended
Yes.
resolution? Okay, and I'll second it.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? Here, let's proceed to a vote. I vote aye.
I'll vote aye as well.
The resolution is adopted.
Good job, Henry.
Terrific. Next item.
I mean, I'm just speculating. We could do this outside the board meeting if we had to sometime, because I don't know why we need a full board meeting for something just Henry and I are doing. I don't know.
We like to watch.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner, we can have council review that if you'd like.
Yeah, would you mind? That'd be great.
Okay.
I have to waste the board's time for something just Henry and I are doing. That's all.
The next item of new business is the Fair Campaign Code complaint dispositions and with council recommendations. I'll ask council to provide the overview of these items.
I can do it. Okay. Thank you. These three complaints were lodged with the board alleging certain violations of the Fair Campaign Code. Following review of the submitted materials, Council's office determined that these complaints did not rise to the level of an actual violation of the Fair Campaign Code. The information provided to the board, as well as the council memorandum with our recommendations, have been provided. All three, the recommendation of council office would be to move and close these complaints without holding a hearing, as no permutation of the facts alleged sustained a Fair Campaign Code violation. I'm happy to go into a little more detail about the three, but at this point, the recommendation would be to close all three complaints.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the council recommendations and dismiss the three matters?
Second.
I hear a motion, I hear a second. Any discussion? Any discussion or questions? None, let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so indicate. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. My understanding is there's no further immediate new business, so I will take a motion to go into an executive session to discuss
So moved.
enforcement matters. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any opposition? Seeing none. We will now go into an executive session for the purpose of discussing an enforcement matter. And if there is any action taken, we will come back into the public session to report any action, and we would anticipate adjourning immediately thereafter. Therefore, now go into executive session, please. We've reconvened in public session. During the executive session, on the request of Enforcement Counsel pursuant to Election Law 3-104 sub 5B, on a motion denominated E-01-2024, the New York State Board of Elections authorized the referral of a matter to prosecutorial agencies. The vote in executive session was unanimous. There being no further business before the board at this meeting, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor, please indicate aye.
Aye.
All right. The motion is carried. The New York State Board of Elections meeting is adjourned, and the meeting of the PCFD will begin momentarily. Thank you all.